Welcome to the CAlPADS Basics Reports Functionality Training. This course will walk you through using and accessing the reports in CAlPADS. We will focus on navigation and system functionality, but also cover business rules and best practices. Training sequence. This slide shows a diagram of the CAlPADS course catalog. These courses are mostly available as self-paced recordings in Bridge and on the CSIS YouTube training channel. The courses are organized in a training sequence. You can see highlighted that this course, Reports, is part of the CAlPADS Basics complement of courses. The Basics courses were created to help new users build a foundation of skills in CAlPADS data reporting. Target audience. The content of this course is designed specifically for new CAlPADS users. Those who will be doing the majority of data reporting for their LEA will get the greatest benefit from this course. Don't worry, there's no need to take notes. This slide deck will be made available to you. Objective. This training, like every training that we create, has specific learning objectives. By the end of this session, learners should be able to navigate to reports using the CAlPADS user interface or UI and filter to select information for a network of stakeholders exhibiting data leadership. Learners will also be able to review report data for completeness and reasonability. They should be able to use critical thinking to determine if reports accurately reflect the submission. Lastly, learners are also expected to be able to comprehend the information represented by the data in reports, utilize tools for analysis, and make data insights leading to informed decisions as part of data literacy. Let's cover the agenda quickly. We will begin with an overview and discuss the purpose and rules for accessing reports. We'll go over the details and business rules related to the reports, as well as the functionality of accessing and rendering the reports. We'll introduce tools that help maximize the value of reports for the LEAs. And then lastly, conclude this training with a wrap-up summarizing key points. Let's jump straight into the overview. Flow of data. The general flow of data begins at the local level and moves from the state to the federal system. LEAs are responsible for student, course, and staff data that are used to increase accountability and meet federal requirements. Looking at this slide, you can see the sheer volume of data that is input by local education agencies and their future destinations. CAlPADS system interaction. When we think about CAlPADS system interactions, we often focus on input at the local level. In addition to LEA submissions via the CIS and CEDS, CAlPADS receives data from the Department of Health and Human Services, the Commission on Teaching Credentialing, and English Language Proficiency Assessments for California. Due to the nature of reporting, it is easier to focus on the input. However, there are mechanisms in place to view and extract data. Of course, they're called reports and extracts. In this session, we will focus on reports. Characteristics of reports. Let's talk about commonalities of all reports. Reports are structured and formatted based on system design. There is no reformatting or customizing of the reports. The reports have predetermined criteria, meaning there are no queries or joins creating new tables or new views of reports. However, the reports do have extensive filter options. There are many filter options for you to specify the data that is returned. Reports also have multiple downloadable formats. Reports can be downloaded as text, Excel, or documents like PDFs. Reports can be viewed in the CAlPADS user interface, meaning they are supported by the CAlPADS UI. They do not necessarily need to be downloaded. Uses for reports. Let's talk about common ways these reports are used by LEAs. Reviewing data in CAlPADS generated reports may help identify discrepancies during the CIS and CAlPADS data reconciliation process. Reports can assist in error correction. Notably, they can reveal timing issues and missing data. They are used to identify anomalies and resolve some anomalies. Batch file submission functionality does not reveal past record data. So since the post redesign, when you submit a file, there is no CAlPADS UI function that shows you your past records. To verify records have been passed, you can use reports to see if the data submitted is now in your reports. So reports can be used for past record verification. And of course, reports provide the counts used in state reporting. They are the product of all your hard work. So just a list of report roles. So user report roles. As you can see, there are specific roles for data submissions like fall 1, fall 2, end of year. There are special report roles for county or authorizing LEA reports and SELPA reports. But in addition to specific report roles that accounts need to have, there are roles for sensitive data. So student data that's considered sensitive or is protected through privacy, like foster youth, free and reduced price meal, or direct certification, have specific roles. So you may be able to access a report, but not see the data for these special groups or these data types if you don't have the sensitive data roles. And so let's bring up some documentation for you. Okay, so some documents that will help you with reports can be found on the CAlPADS system documentation page. You can see I just Googled CAlPADS system documentation. This is the page if you're unfamiliar with it. And the CAlPADS data guide is a resource that you can use that has some information on reports. And I've already downloaded it. It's a Word document, as you can see. And just for an example, what reports must the LEA certify and when? This is pertaining to staff data, and it tells you report 4.1 staff count and FTE by job classification, and then some information about the data on that report. So there is some information about reports, how they are used in the CAlPADS data guide. The CAlPADS data guide tells you a lot about the why and the how and the what. It's not devoted to functionality, but more like policy and business rules. So it's a good resource to be familiar with. But the primary resource is not on the system documentation page. So if you Google CAlPADS user manual, the CAlPADS user manual will come up, and it's a tremendous resource. We'll cover this in a little bit more depth later. Specifically, we'll go to the report mapping guides, but definitely this helps you identify the business rules and calculations in reports. But as far as functionality goes, you have a functionality map in the user guide. You can see there's a section dedicated to reports, starting with an overview. And so, hey, if you're tired of watching the video already, you can go here for a quick rundown, or if you need to reiterate or send to someone else, this is extremely great resource. So we'll come back to the documentation, show you how to use it effectively later on in this training, but just wanted to introduce those early. So with that, we've concluded the overview. Let's go on to showing the reports functionality.